How's it doing today? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Coinbase IPO. So today, they announced that they will be going public in an IPO. Now, there isn't a set date yet, but it's probably going to be within the next month or so. And they did actually have plans of going public for like a while now. And this is probably going to be the biggest IPO definitely of this year, obviously, but of probably the last since Airbnb. Basically, it's probably going to be one of the biggest IPOs even of this year. So that is that. Now I'm going to be specifically telling you like my thoughts around this IPO. Am I going to be buying it? What the valuations are exactly, and in my opinion, does it have long-term potential of bringing great returns, right? But right before we jump into it, obviously a lot of people, it's basically all over the internet, what's going on with GameStop and stuff. I didn't really want to make a video on it because I feel like it's everywhere right now. Everyone's making a video on what's going on with like GameStop and Robinhood and stuff. But you guys know, if you've been watching my channel at all, you know I pretty much don't like Robinhood that much. The only reason I use it for my videos is so I can look at the charts, and because I actually have some of my Tesla stock in there that I bought a really long time ago, like in 2017 or 18. I bought my Tesla stocks there, and I don't really want to sell it for tax purposes. That's like the only reason I use Robinhood. But if you guys don't want to use Robinhood, definitely make sure to like get out of there. A lot of my stocks actually sold off. I had some cash laying around. I'm not really using Robinhood anymore, and I've been saying it for a while on this channel. So if you guys want to use Webull instead, in my opinion, they've been a lot more transparent about what's going on. I'll have a link down in my description. All you guys have to do is sign up, and like if you deposit like $100, you get even a better bonus than what Robinhood gives you. And yeah, basically that basically sucks what's going on in that situation. But I didn't want to make a dedicated video on that, so I just jumped straight into this. Now, Coinbase is obviously going public, but they're not doing like a normal IPO where sometimes you might go IPO with like a SPAC. Basically, what it means is a company, it's like a holdings company that already exists, and you're basically like switching places, like and then changing your ticker, and then all of a sudden you have a new company. It's not like that. It's not even like a normal IPO. Like people are saying IPO, but it's not even like a normal IPO. It's literally like a direct listing, which is what Spotify Slack does. Now I don't know. I'm not like an expert. I'm not gonna pretend I'm an expert about what that means, but I just know that it's better than a normal IPO, where basically it's a lot more transparent and there isn't much fees on their end. It's a lot more. It's kind of like an independent, like where an artist might be independent. It's kind of like what that is. So it's a lot better, in my opinion, than doing a normal IPO, which is good. I guess that means that the day it IPOs, it's not gonna be overly crazy expensive, where people can get in early, where the average investor can't. From my kind of my point of view there, where like Airbnb, for example, as you can see, where they IPO'd at like they were supposed to IPO at like $80, but then last second it went up to 150. And I made a video on Airbnb. I'm like, okay, this IPO is way too expensive. Now they quadrupled their stock price since so like behind the scenes, this was supposed to be a $50 stock, $80 stock max, but behind the scenes they doubled it the day before, and then it actually went down like almost 20% until it rise to like 160. And obviously today it's just been crazy up. But basically every single IPO has been crazy within the last basically year or two. So this is, in my opinion, if you're Coinbase, this is a very good time to go public. Now obviously Coinbase is the number one player in Bitcoin. So what they basically are is, if you want to buy Bitcoin at all, or any coin in the like crypto space, you're gonna go to Coinbase at the end of the day. Now what I've noticed is that Coinbase, basically I've been using Coinbase. I don't have that much Bitcoin. I haven't even made that much money in Bitcoin at all, but I have been technically using Coinbase. Like I've had an account at Coinbase since 2017 or early 2017. So I've seen them like since the beginning, where they only had Bitcoin. Like at one point, Coinbase only had Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Like you can only buy 3 coins, but today you can literally buy like a ton of different coins, and they're actually like a pretty big company. Now, what I've noticed as well is that Coinbase, when Bitcoin's down, no one cares about Coinbase, right? So like I just quickly pulled up like a Google Trends of like Bitcoin and Coinbase. You can see it's basically directly the popularity of Coinbase is directly influenced by the price of Bitcoin. So like if everyone's talking about Bitcoin, Coinbase is going to get pretty popular. And then once again, as you guys can see, recently Bitcoin's been up and up and up, what has happened? Coinbase as well has gained some traction. So you can kind of tell that as Bitcoin gets popular, Coinbase as well gets popular, which I feel like now since Bitcoin is so expensive, I feel like the price of the actual Coinbase IPO is going to be so up and up. It's going to be so high. And yeah, that is that now. In terms of the price, right? So you guys can read about the IPO versus direct listing here, but basically what it's being valued at right now is they're saying that it could be up to $200 a share. Now that's pretty expensive for a share. Obviously they might not have too many shares in circulation for that amount of price, but that is because until I saw the valuation 50 billion, I'm like, okay, that is probably why, man. So the last time they got funding in Coinbase was 2018 and they were valued at 8 billion. So you're telling me in 2 years Coinbase went from 8 billion to now 50 billion. And now it says there's speculation in recent weeks that Bitcoin and other cryptos, it could be valued as much as 75 billion. Now that is insane, right? 75 billion would be a lot for a company like Coinbase, especially since obviously they have probably the main thing they have is their brand and how reliable they've been over the last many years. But at the end of the day, I don't really see that they could have something proprietary that like even Cash App. You can buy Bitcoin through Cash App and stuff like that, even Robinhood. But the good thing about Coinbase specifically is that obviously they give you like full control of your keys, where you can send the crypto anywhere you want. Where Robinhood, Webull, stuff like that, they don't even have that. So that is also a plus. But either way, we just have to wait and see. Like, you don't know what the valuation will be, obviously, until the IPO. At the end of the day, like you saw Airbnb until the day before the IPO, they freaking raised the price of their stock just to like basically make it more expensive for investors. So that is that. Now, obviously, there's going to be so much demand for this. I specifically almost never buy IPOs on the day they come out just because of how crazy expensive there is. So if you're willing to buy Coinbase IPO when it IPOs, just be prepared that it's probably going to fall a bit. Just know that it's probably going to fall in the short term. It definitely might not fall in the short term. But if it does, just don't be surprised. Like if Bitcoin all of a sudden goes down to 20K, 15K, don't be surprised if Coinbase falls 40%, in my opinion. But we're talking about long term. Long term, I do think that if you're willing to hold Coinbase for like a few years, at least, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, there's some potential there, in my opinion. Because we're looking at $75 billion market cap now. Obviously, I don't have this pulled up, but I don't have it pulled up right now. But if I go to Coin Market Cap, you can actually see what's the second biggest brokerage in terms of actually selling cryptos, right? We go to Binance. BNB actually has their own coin. Now this market cap is at around 6 billion. So I don't know if you can I don't think you can value Binance at 6 billion, but you can basically see that as Binance gets popular, their stock also gets popular. So I don't know if this is a good indication of how much it's worth. Obviously, I think Coinbase is a lot bigger than Binance, but if Binance is worth 6-7 billion at least, with a fully diluted market cap of 8 billion, which of 7.3, which it almost is fully diluted, so 92%. I do think that looking at a 50 billion IPO isn't that crazy, because we're looking at a coin that it's not even like a Binance stock, it's just their coin. What you can do with this coin is if you have the coin, you can actually pay fees with it. And that's basically how Binance makes their money and stuff. And basically how they value stuff. Because I don't think Binance has you can't just buy Bitcoin on Binance. I don't think so. As opposed to Coinbase. Now, yeah, that is that. And I think over time, Coinbase can definitely reach that amount in terms of revenue and stuff. Now, obviously, I've been looking for the Coinbase's revenue, right? But I couldn't find it. Maybe I just didn't look hard enough. But nonetheless, it's probably gonna be pretty decent this year. But who knows what the revenue could be at? Until I see the revenues, you can't really like value it. You know, if that makes sense. you can't really say, okay, this is worth this much money. You can't really do that here. But if you look at Coinbase, they have 43 million users. This is basically all you can find, is that they have a ton of volume traded, right? Ton of money, almost $1 trillion. They have 90 billion in assets, 100 countries. They have 1,200 plus employees, which is pretty good. You can see, I didn't know this, but you can actually use Coinbase all over the world, like in Canada, US, UK, all these countries. You can use it. I didn't know that, because back in the day, like, you can only buy coin. I thought you could have only bought it in certain states, let alone different countries. So that's a very big plus, that they're literally worldwide, because there's a lot of regulations. What I've noticed is that there's a lot of regulations when you buy Bitcoin. Like, there's some companies that literally can't offer it, but since they're literally the first ones, I do feel like they're gonna be, I guess, first to market in terms of being able. I mean, they are first to market in terms of being able to buy it. See, they've been around since 2012, which in my opinion was crazy, because in 2012 no one cared about Bitcoin, no one cared about cryptos at all. And the fact that they've been around that long, it probably means that they're going to be around for a long time, and that is good. That is a very good sign. Now, like I said, long term, today, are they worth 75 billion? No, man, I don't think 75 billion for Coinbase is a lot, like a lot of companies, but I do think long term this is a very good value. Now, the thing with Coinbase is that I wouldn't be too far-fetched to say that Coinbase is actually holding Bitcoin in their balance sheet, right? Because a lot of companies now are holding Bitcoin in their balance sheet. Bitcoin's like 33K right now, and if they hold Bitcoin in their balance sheet and Bitcoin goes to like 100K or 100K, the stock's going to go up more. Obviously, if we look at other Bitcoin like stocks, micro strategy stock here, this is probably another huge Bitcoin stock that basically, it's like the company, it's its own company. They have nothing to do with Bitcoin, but they've been going up like crazy. And the reason they've been going up is not because their business is doing good, is because they own a lot of Bitcoin in their balance sheet. So instead of a normal company having cash, this company has Bitcoin. So what happens is when Bitcoin goes up, this company goes up. And the CEO is actually pretty smart for doing that. And I mean, they've been doing pretty darn well. Like, they don't even mine Bitcoin. All they do is buy Bitcoin and store it. And that's why it's up so much. So I feel like Coinbase definitely has Bitcoin in their balance sheet. And if that's the case, then it'll be very intriguing, because if Coinbase as a company does well, they collect fees. Okay, so how their business model works. If I want to buy Bitcoin, they take a fee. If I want to sell Bitcoin, they take a fee. If I want to transfer it, they don't necessarily take a fee, but there could be a few cents here and there, margins that they can make from that. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much how they make their money. They do have a pretty good system of obtaining new customers, where if you refer someone, you get $10 of Bitcoin if you buy it from them, which is pretty good. Now let's look at their competitors, right? If you look at Coinbase, they're only competitors. Like, if you search where to buy Bitcoin, 10 results of Coinbase come up right away. It's the first thing. Coinbase is the number one thing, and a few traditional brokers like Robinhood. But obviously, Coinbase is a lot more basically viable of a system of buying Bitcoin, because you can transfer it here and there. Obviously, here Coinbase comes up again, and then for some reason Coinbase is all the way in the bottom of the page, but I feel like that's because this is in the way and like that's in the way. But nonetheless, Coinbase is basically the number one way of buying Bitcoin. Now, there's been competitors, like there's this, like eToro has been there, like even Blockchain has its own wallet and system of buying Bitcoin. It's never been as big. I feel like there's so many different brokerages coming up, startups, where they're trying to replicate Coinbase, but they can't. And I feel like that's a very powerful thing right there, that Coinbase has that system of buying Bitcoin that a lot of other places don't. I feel like almost everyone buys Bitcoin from like Coinbase that a lot of people wouldn't buy anywhere else. Now, okay, this is a pretty weird chart. Let's go to 12 months. This is like a Google Trends of basically saying how popular Coinbase is, how popular Binance is. Now, this is actually pretty interesting, because let's say, like, we're just playing games here, but let's say theoretically Binance is worth 10 billion, because their coin is, let's say they're worth 10 billion, right? If Coinbase is 4 times more popular, you could theoretically say they're worth 40 billion, but I mean, that's very, very like funny way of valuing it, right? That's not really, I'm just going by how popular they are. But if Binance is the second most popular and Coinbase is still so much more popular than Binance, then I mean that could be pretty good way of looking at it, right? So I don't really think they're so like, okay, so this is okay, basically in conclusion, I can't speak, but in conclusion, I don't think they're worth 75 billion today. Oops. But long term, if you're willing to hold this stock for a year, maybe even 2 years, honestly, this might be a better play. Like if you're bullish in the crypto space, if you think that Coinbase and like different coins, crypto coins will be big in the future, what you want to do is you want to hold some Bitcoin, you want to hold some Coinbase stock. I feel like those two will benefit the most from overall everything going up, because some people are buying like Ripple, some people are buying like random coins, Dogecoin and stuff like that. Those are very risky, but in my opinion, the least risky thing is probably Coinbase, because that is probably going to be getting a lot of value from everything. And I do think potentially Coinbase might be a better buy than Bitcoin itself. I'm not even kidding. That could be very controversial, but I do think that's very, very possible, because not only Coinbase has a very big or very good business behind them, good people behind them, they also most likely, I'm going to assume, they're owning Bitcoin in their balance sheet. So all that together, I could definitely say that Coinbase might be a better buy than Bitcoin itself when they do IPO. Obviously, if they're going to be trading at $200 billion valuations, oh man, at that point, no way. But even at 75 billion, I do think it's not that crazy, right? So that is my opinion on it. I might make a follow-up once they release their financials. I'm definitely interested to see how much Coinbase makes in revenue. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. This was a bit of a long video, and I'll see you on the next one.